The Ringing Cedars. Ringing Cedars of Russia. I want to talk about these books again. I found them. I've been looking for these books. I've talked about it in numerous episodes, none of which are probably still online, where I said I want to talk about the Ringing Cedars of Russia stuff, but I haven't been able to find the books. This is my box full of Ringing Cedars of Russia books, of which there are, I think, 10 or 11. And I have multiple copies of these. These books inspired me, along with several other people, to co-found an international nonprofit organization focused on sufficient family homesteading and trying to inculcate national programs where people would grow food everywhere possible and for times that were to come. And this box full of Russian social engineering books about how Russia wants to thrive during as globalization is like inflicted on us through Hegelian dialectics. China wants China to win as we head into globalization. Even though it's communist China and social credit system and all that, China still wants China to win. Russia wants Russia to win, whatever that means. So they want their people to thrive. So they've focused on self-sufficient family homesteading. Putin has had to acknowledge these books, which again I believe is part of a social engineering program for Russia. It may have started out one way by the author Vladimir Magray, then the whole thing was co-opted by the government and used for their means, and like, oh, this will help Russians thrive when they shut the lights out. So you know the power outages that are happening all over the place. Well, that's part of a plan for a strategy for globalization where they're just going to shut the lights out. And this is where the Hegelian dialectics come in, where they create a problem and they say, you want us to turn lights back on? Well, then you got to do these things, and nobody owns anything, and you will eat the bugs. And here's your life pod, which is your Coom pod, which is your death pod. Now we live in the Matrix, and we own it, and none of it's yours. Even though if there is a matrix, it's God's matrix, and you know, at the top. But you know, so these books got land laws changed. See the title? The title of one of these is The New Civilization. This is the first book in the series. Anastasia, if you will. And Anastasia means the resurrection. So this is like some kind of female version of Jesus. She's like a new age, you know, wood nymph lady that she's like not even a witch, but she's just like supposed to be like someone who God finds pleasing. Again, it's like some kind of weird, she's not real. People think that this lady, this Anastasia, is real. She's not real. It's a work of fiction. This is, again, for Russians to thrive when they shut the lights out, because they'll still be able to grow food and stay warm. And it's really cold in Russia. I don't know if you know. Also, I feel like I should bring Astana into this. In Kazakhstan, remember Kazakhstan with Borat? This is my sister. Do you want to make love to my sister? All that Borat shit. Making Kazakhstan look like a backwards place. Kazakhstan has a smart city that already exists. There are videos on YouTube. In fact, there are videos in my playlist titled Stuff Other People Made for You to Watch. And if you go into that playlist, you can see at least two videos where people use like Photoshop or something to visualize the destruction of Astana because they think it's the new evil world capital. Do you know that the word Astana is an anagram for Satana, which is the Hebrew word for Satan? That's how they say Satan. They say Satana. So there's a city in Kazakhstan, Russia called Astana, and people think it will be the new evil world capital. It's a smart city. It has pyramids. It has topiaries of phoenixes rising from the ashes. It's the smart city that already exists that nobody talks about, and it's been there for quite some time. It's also very cold in Astana. So cold that you may have seen videos of animals frozen in mid-step, where it's like a cat that's outside in the winter in Astana. It takes a step and it freezes, standing up. Dogs. I've seen these. You've seen them maybe. So anyway, there's something going on with Borat, who plays a character who pretends to hate the people of the fake Israel, but really he is one of the people of the fake Israel, is he not? And he's making fun of Kazakhstan, Astana, the birthplace of apples, so I'm told. Even though we know that the forbidden fruit in the garden of Eden is not an apple. You know, the forbidden fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. It's not an apple, but often it's represented by apples. Also, I think the origin of, like, I don't know, something to do with the apples is in Kazakhstan. Like, they have the most apple trees in the world or something. Or I don't know. I can't remember. Like, if you're going to watch a documentary on Netflix about the history of apples, they're going to talk about Astana. Okay? And just leave it at that. So, go look into Astana, smart city that already exists, evil world capital. Forget about Neom in Saudi Arabia. So, it's all Russia. Astana is part of Russia. Russia is setting itself up to win. They already have a smart city. It's named after Satan. It's an anagram. It's like it's not even an anagram. It's just just like move the S and then you have Satana. Okay? So these Ringing Cedars of Russia books have gotten Russians to prep. You know how in America they had like stupid shows called Preppers and stuff? I believe that what they want is for America to be sacrificed up. Like, America is to be a sacrifice. Like, hey, destroy America, have her be a huge offering, and then whatever they want to do with the real estate after they try and convince us to kill each other or use 5G or whatever. The Russians have been setting up self-sufficient family homestead neighborhoods. Like, it's not just a self-sufficient family homestead. It's like a whole eco-village. They have like 250 eco-villages where the emphasis is on growing your own food supply and having houses that aren't dependent on electricity and, building your own home. And they're using all the cool things. Like, Sepp Holzer, if you don't know who he is, it should be like an international treasure, recognized worldwide for his ability to grow every kind of food and livestock on an alpine slope in Austria. He's so successful with his farming, if you want to call it that. It's permaculture, Sepp Holzer permaculture. SEPPHOLZER, Sepp Holzer. Go look him up and go, wow, I have to be doing that, otherwise we're all going to starve. So Sepp Holzer is appreciated by the Russians, and they have him go over there to help them with their eco-villages so that they can grow food, because he had lemons growing on an alpine slope in the winter. In the snow. Lemons. Think about that. So, lemons bearing fruit in the winter with snow on the ground on an alpine slope in Austria. That's Sepp Holzer. Go look up Kremeterhof videos. I could spell it, I'm good at that, but I'm just, go look up Sepp Holzer and you'll find out about the Kremeterhof. You'll probably also find out about the Holzerhof. I hope Sepp's still alive. International treasure. All the awards that they give to these Luciferian demon worshiper buddies of theirs, they'll never give Sepp Holzer award, but he was the one that figured out how to feed everybody, and not Mollefson or Tollefson, if I must say it. Those alkies in Australia and that pervert David Jackie, forget those guys. Sepp Holzer's the real guy. Also, I would say Masanobu Fukuoka, maybe you'd want to look into him. He's a Japanese guy after World War II, figured out how to do, they called it do-nothing farming. I think it's called the One Straw Revolution or something. But yeah, go look up Masanobu Fukuoka. He's the Japanese Sepp Holzer, even though Sepp Holzer, I would say, is leagues above them all. Nobody's in his league, except maybe his kids. So, the Russians have Sepp Holzer going over there to help them with so that the Russians won't starve. And they talk about how when the whole rest of the world is torn to shit because of globalization, that Russia's going to thrive. I'm telling you, it's the social engineering program for Russia. Like, Putin had to acknowledge these books. He had to, like, the people of Russia so much want their Anastasia, eco villages and all that stuff, and they're saying all this like we are Vedras, we are Vedic Russians, and all this shit. And they're saying that, like Putin had to acknowledge these things which he was fully aware of, because it's like a social engineering program that seems to have taken hold with the Russians. I have met the guy who's attributed to said to have written these books, which is Vladimir Megre. I spent a week with the guy. He doesn't speak English. Everything's done through translators. I've met various language translators of these books. If you want to know more about that, go watch the outtakes. I'll just let it go. I myself helped to co-found, like never could have done it on my own, and I was just like kind of helped co-fund an international nonprofit organization where the emphasis was on self-sufficient family homesteading neighborhoods, which is, I wanted it for America. There are eco villages in America. They call them eco villages, but they don't have anything to do with this Russian social engineering program. One of them was in North Carolina in the middle of nowhere, and I wonder if they didn't use the weather tech to destroy that for those people, because yeah, I don't know. I am an American, so I feel like, I'm not saying they'll get their way just because they plan these things for so long. I mean, that's what prayer is for. We're supposed to pray against their evil plans, like whatever their plans are for Agenda 2030, 2050. We're supposed to pray for the whole agenda to fail, as well as to pray for their checkpoints to fail, and any checkpoints that they think that they have for Agenda 2030. I pray to the Lord, I really do this, I pray to the Lord that they be undone. So usually when I talk about the power of weaponized prayer, those videos get like 11 views. I don't know if that's because you guys suck so much that you just don't want to pray to God to help the whole world, or because they're censored more than my regular videos are censored. How could they know? How do they know when I tell people about the most important videos that I make are telling you to pray to God for help? The guy won't even talk to me. It drives me crazy. But I know what's the right thing to do, and it's to keep praying. Luke 18, the persistent widow, the tenacious widow in some translations. You're supposed to keep bringing your case before the judge. Lord, there's so an ill will between neighbors. Hear my case and do something about it. And pretty much what it comes out to is if you bug God enough, maybe he'll help you. So keep bugging God that pray for the destruction of BlackRock, Blackstone, Vanguard. Pray that everything that all the houses in America that they bought up have to be given back because they're declared a monopoly and they're evil and they have to be taken apart. And they're kind of like the evil umbrella corporation from Resident Evil games, and you're the zombies. So, America's Raccoon City, just so you know, from that Japanese game, Biohazard. Remember that? So anyway, back on point with the ringing Cedars of Russia. They're preparing their people. You want to see some of the... I have other books in here too. Dictionary Mythology. Maybe that might be useful. Russian literature of the Soviet period. Yeah. There's a big new Brzezinski's Between Two Ages. Who's the guy? Who's Nixon's advisor? Kissinger. Kissinger read some of Brzezinski's work, and he said, "You're coming with me. You're up and comer." So go read, or go have Jay's analysis. I don't know what you think of Jay Dyer. I don't watch him anymore, but he had pretty good breakdowns of the globalist book series. Maybe get those, and whatever the rest of he says, I don't know what you want to think about him. A guy works for Alex Jones. I don't think that's a good thing necessarily, taking money from that guy. I don't know. This Alex Jones is controlled opposition. This is the known thing. So now Jay Dyer does movie reviews or whatever for Alex Jones. So I kind of disassociate from that guy. Sorry. He's also Orthodox Christian, and the Orthodox are full of the same child predators as the Roman Catholic Church. It's no good. I've had my terrible personal experiences with the Eastern Orthodox Church, and whether it's Russian or Ukrainian, it's bad. Sorry. Does it mean that the people that go to church don't believe in God? No, that's the good thing about it, is the people that actually believe in God. Although I went to a church where I don't really have very much... I could tell you stories. I have told them before. I don't know if those videos are going to go back up, but I've talked about my disappointments with congregations that I've been to where they denied almsgiving to people on the grounds of the church right after service, like on the church grounds. A woman with a child with a sign that says, "Please, can you please give us money for homeless. And there's a little boy and a lady, and nobody gave her money after they left Orthodox church. They didn't even tell the lady and the child to go into coffee hour, and maybe somebody would give them money in there. They just avoided her on the church grounds. What do you think God thinks about that? Well, I have a whole episode on it. I think it comes out December 24th. So if this video is released after December 24th, well, go back and find it. It's the day before Saturnalia, because Jesus was probably born in April. So they made new covers for this book. This is what Straskin had to do to hold on to his American language translation publishing rights. So this is the new civilization. I don't know if any of this shit matters to you. This is the new civilization from the original version, the original English translations, and this is the one that he had to do to hold on to his rights in America to print the books in English or whatever. The guy who is responsible for this was an economics student, a Russian economics student. And there's a thing that the Russians had through their communist stuff called dacha plots. I hate communism. It's never going to work. It's just leading towards globalization. All the people who are communist, Marxists, socialists really worship Lucifer underneath it all. It's just about taking everything away from people, never letting them have anything, not even families. To take the kids away, all that kind of stuff. So, have you seen how Russia's like enemy of the world? They all hate Russia and everything. And Russia's like, the Ukraine, that's our fertile soil. We're, whatever. They want to set up a grid over there. They want to take the lithium, all the fertile soil of the Ukraine. It's never stopped being talked about. And now, what's it going to be given over to the Skeksis and Skexril or something? Whatever. So, I'm just all over the place with this one. So, China wants China to win. You know about the evils of China. Russia wants Russia to win. You know about the evils of Russia. But I will say, Russia is a country of white people, pretty much, right? Except for, have you ever met Russians that just look like they're just outright Asian? Like, they just like, oh, I thought you were Chinese or something. And they're like, no, I'm Russian. In a Russian accent. Anyway, borders. So, Ring Cedars series, book 8, part 1. I guess it was something that this Russian guy, Vladimir Magray, started on his own, and then it really took with the people, like a sort of grassroots movement. So then the government co-opted it, and at first you're supposed to be able to have your kin domain, which is your self-sufficient family homestead, and by like, the 5th book, each self-sufficient family homestead had to take a piece of like nuclear waste onto its property. So I was like, oh, the government co-opted these books directly. I don't know. But it did predict a lot of things. I've been reading these books since like 2006 or 2007, and I forgot about them. Like, I think I read them all. I think they made a 10th one. I'm like, I don't need to read it. It's a social engineering program. So, I don't know. Oh, one of the things that these books predicts is that they don't want jets flying over Russia, and that in the new Russia, the new civilization, there will be no jets flying over Russia, which means weather tech stuff. So they're not going to be influenced by weather tech like in America they're using it. Like, remember the guy in Texas, this is 2025, the guy went on all these podcasts and he said, look, don't kill me or my family. He said, just because I invented weather tech doesn't mean that I'm the one that used it on Texas to kill all those people. And, the same thing in North Carolina or whatever. So he said, don't come after me. He said, I invented the tech, but I'm not the one using it. So Russia even talks about not having weather tech manipulate Russia. It talks about feeding people and making sure that you prepared. Like, these books started in 1994. This is a movement that's in Russia that started in 1994. So how far along are the Russians today? I had a bunch of people telling me, come over to Russia and start your kin domain. That's the family homestead. the way they describe it. So what do we have in America? We have some fat Paula Deen wannabe broad. So I'm the pioneer woman. You go to Walden's and they have pioneer woman frying pans and all this bullshit. It's crap. All this ball shit. BAALSH it. So I just want to talk about Ringing Cedars of Russia because there's so many things that these books predicted that are just all coming to pass. But in these books, this book series, they make it seem like a New Age prophecy. So people believe in this. Like, they believe in Anastasia. They love her. They talk about orbs of light and stuff. You see all these orbs flying around. I've seen this stuff myself, the orbs and everything. We used to take pictures. We used to take orb photos. Like me and friends and family, we'd take these orb photos, and the more pictures we'd take, the more orbs would show up in the photographs. And it's not dust, because it was like we were calling these things, and then they would show up, because the eye of a digital camera sees more than the human eye sees, or than we're allowed to see, or whatever, however it works. So digital cameras pick up stuff that our human eyes don't, and we would take pictures with the orbs. And as the flash would go off in the dark in the forest and stuff, because I used to live on the edge of the woods, so as we'd take these pictures, we could see the orbs coming our way with the flashes, as the flash of the camera would go off in front of us, not on the screen, not on the little LED monitor, but out into the world. We would see these orbs. So what are they? They're probably evil spirits. Probably. What are orbs? Probably evil spirits. Is there other kind of orbs that are like tech or something? I don't know, maybe. I've seen a lot of weird things in videos. I've seen weird things for real. I've seen clouds moving independently of other clouds that were moving like aircrafts in the sky. And that was before I ever took any drugs. Not even a headache medicine. So I used to be a real clean living guy, and when I'd never done drugs, didn't drink alcohol, didn't do any of those things. So my reception to tuning into God's channel, as it were, was really strong. Then I used to do a lot of fasting, and I don't know, like, I feel like I was just a better person, and I was able to receive God more. And then I ruined it all with drugs and alcohol over the years, so I don't see that kind of stuff anymore. I'm not tuned into that kind of stuff, but I assure you it's all there, because all the spiritual experiences I had were done before I ever took drugs. Then I took drugs and dulled myself, and now I feel like I pray to God and He never calls me back. How do you pray? You get results? I did before I even knew that Jesus was God. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff about how Orthodox Christianity will rise. There is a lot of paganism. There's really, like in this book, they don't want you to eat meat, but it really took off. They have like all this about cedar oil and the benefits of cedar oil, and they talk about Solomon's temple and how he felled cedars and he needs special men to fell timbers and stuff. So there's like 9, if not 10 volumes. I think I have 9 of the books, and then I was like, I don't need anymore. So this series of books encouraged me to meet people and try and establish eco villages, and some of those people were successful, and then the same thing would happen over and over again. A group of people would meet to set up an eco village. Then they couldn't agree on how they would live there. Everybody wanted to get New Age with it and say, but I want to be the one that works in the healing center. And all the healing center stuff was Christums and pendulums and all the stuff that demons like to inhabit to influence our lives. And the eco villages would break up. Sometimes the groups would be infiltrated by, I don't know what you want to call them. Think about it. Infiltrated by operatives that would break up the group or try and influence it to be in a certain way. And then usually what happens is whoever had the most money would break off and do their own thing, because like, I'm gonna do what I want, I have the money. And there are eco villages in America. Some of them are hidden. I know about them, that's why I haven't mentioned them. There's some that are known, some that are unknown. Some of them are not occult like cults. These books have led me to stay with cults in other countries. I got very, I don't want to say, I spent a lot of time with one particular cult that was channeling spirits to get information on how to start businesses. So they'd start a business, they'd channel information, which is demonic. Don't do this. No channeling. No channeling. Don't channel anything. I don't know if I need to say that to you watching, but they would channel spirits and get information on how to start businesses, then start the business, make it a success, and then they'd sell it to somebody else. They channeled data. I don't know how else to quantify it. They would channel data on machine. They came up with a seed oil press, which using genetically modified, using a genetically modified crop to get the oil. And they channeled the whole, like plans for a seed oil press. And I've seen it. I have video of it. I don't think I'll put it in this video, but like I have video of their seed oil press. But I don't want to. Those poor people. They were good people. A whole cult of them. They're channeling demons. The leader of the cult was kind of like a maniac. Obviously, he's a cult leader. Those poor people. They just wanted they just wanted to make a safe refuge, a sanctuary, so they got caught up in a cult. It was manipulative young people. I mean, there's so many. There's like several weird stories I have. They also channeled some kind of weird kombucha stuff that I've never seen before in my life. That looks like something right out of science fiction. They had like these little, like boba tea things, but they weren't little. They're like golf ball sized boba organisms that they were growing. And they would feed like sugar to it, and then it would make some kind of thing that they would drink. And I drank it. I drank their potion or whatever, and it was sweet, and like I wanted more. And it was supposed to be some kind of like probiotic drink or something. I've seen crazy shit. A lot of like years of my life went into trying to make eco villages happen because of these books. And I've seen I could probably count them, but I've seen numerous groups try to start up and try and help them stay together and get along, but it's hard to get people to agree on how to live. If you look into the history of like eco villages and commune type things, a lot of the reasons why they fail is because of people's pets. People have pets and free range chickens, and it causes the breakdowns of their communities. I've seen places fix those problems. I've seen all the things, the composting toilets, people taking the hippie house and taking the toilets out and having them shit in a bucket, and then the whole house smells like shit and sawdust or whatever. It smells awful. You could, like, if you walk into a composting hippie house, you can tell right away. It's like, oh, they're shitting in a bucket. They'll take out the plumbing. They'll take out the toilet. It's all this environmental, climate control agenda stuff. They want to create a new feudal system. And Russia wants its people to thrive in this new feudal system, whether they have electricity or not, or whatever alternatives they provide. Do you believe that we already had all this cool, like, electric tech and stuff, but they took it away from us? Yeah, I kind of do. I believe that we had technology that they took away from us, and then they tell us it's over. They kind of like forced us back to horse and buggies. So now they want to bring back the old tech, which they've always had the whole time. But first we have to make some kind of devil's deal to use it, and then that'll cost us something of our soul. And that's why the smart cities buildings won't have windows you can jump out of, because people will want to jump out of the windows when they recognize what it is that they've given up to live in the smart cities. Oh yeah, these books talk about the smart cities. That what they call it in the English translation of these books is that there'll be a time where people live in and die in a fearful hell, and if they make it through that, there'll be smart cities. But what you'll have to give up for the smart cities will make you want to jump out the window. So no windows, like those Chinese factories where people work at Walmart, where they put nets around so that people jump out the windows of their cinder block matrix cell. They land in a net, and they're like, no, get back to work. You don't belong to any. You're not going back to God. you're going back to the factory. It's really heartbreaking, what people in China are living through just so that you can have cheap stuff at Walmart that isn't cheap anymore. The Walden family are occultists. Do you know that they're evil? They got blood on their hands. Not just Chinese factory worker blood, but like willfully occult ritual blood. They're evil. Allegedly. Of course, it's allegedly. So, just see the Walmart effect in effect. Where you want to go shopping. Walmart price. I've been to other places even still. Walmart isn't always the cheapest price. Even still, as me recording this video. That 7 cents. Like, we sold our souls for 7 cents cheaper. Right? Parts of it. Pieces of our soul. So anyway, forget about doomsday preppers. That's a joke. It's supposed to be. It's mocking you. But learn how to grow food and figure out what permaculture is. There's a lot of cool videos on YouTube about permaculture. Clip grab them while they're still legal, because probably what they'll do is they'll say, uh-oh, bird flu, and then everybody will be fighting each other to try and take everyone's chickens away, so you can't have chickens or eggs because it would be meat and be protein. Like, no eggs. You know how they complain about the price of eggs? Yeah, I told you Trump was no good. Sorry. And he's possessed. The guy's possessed. I think he was evil, and now he's possessed. I don't think he was good ever. I think they put the demon in Trump, the spirit of Cyrus, or probably Osiris, right? So now he's evil, and he's doing the opposite of everything that he said he would do. He's literally doing the opposite of everything he told people that he would do. And he's 50-year land lease, 50-year home lease or whatever. How long do people live? Like 7? What does it say in the Bible? If you get 70 years, it's a burden. 80 years is a sigh, or 80 years is a sigh. 70 years a burden. Whatever. Whatever. That's in the Bible, right? So, or is it in the Psalter? I think it's in the Psalter. Well, the Psalter's in the Bible. You know what I mean. So, yeah, I want to talk about ringing Cedars of Russia, because the Russians have been preparing for lights going out, and that's kind of what, I found this box of books like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, well, I don't know how I'm going to incorporate that into a video. So this is how I'm incorporating ringing Cedars of Russia into a video. It's very, very sharp. People are into New Age. A lot of Russians are into the New Age stuff, and have been. So Australians too. I think the Australians like these books. So yeah, they just I forgot what I was going to say. So they've been preparing to grow food, because what are you going to do? Look at what people do when they can't eat. In the Bible, when Jesus came back the first time, he said it's going to get so desperate that you'll eat your babies. They want America to be they want America, and as well as any other country that's going to be offered up. They want them to be sacrifices. They want us to tear each other up. They want social Darwinism stuff has been inculcated through social media, socialist media, whatever you want to call it. And what they want to do is survival of the fittest, and whoever's the fittest, then the demons want those bodies, and they want to possess those people. Put people through fearful hell like is predicted in these books. And then whoever can survive that, then the demons want those bodies. And anyone who they can offer, anyone who stays with Jesus and sticks with Jesus and God and is willing to lay down their life for that, well, the demons weren't going to get in them anyway. They want vessels. Demons want our bodies, okay? And they got to push you out of the way and get your body. So they want to shut the lights out, because we've been dependent on electricity. Go watch videos on how they're using AI in hospitals to diagnose things, and it's wrong like 98% of the time. I think that is like an actual number, wherever they get that from, like 98% of the time in like UK hospitals or whatever, that where they're using AI, it's like a 2% success rate, and the rest, it means it's completely useless. So the AI bubble is going to pop. Robots can't do what they want. what they say they'll do. Boston Dynamics keeps getting sold, and when everybody who buys it's like, oh wait, they can't really do anything that we want yet. You don't have proper bodies for demons, and then like now we got to get rid of Boston Dynamics. We shouldn't have bought it in the first place. So there was a robot. I think it was a robot called Neo, where it's just like people have been saying for years. This robot of Neom Sophia is just like a Chuck E. Cheese puppet that's controlled backstage by a guy wearing, the control suit and then doing all the movements as Sophia, and the whole thing's fake. It's not even. It's just like it's an animatronic. It's not AI. It's just an animatronic. It's a literal puppet. It's an electric puppet. That's Sophia. Sophia was like the figurehead of Neom, and they said, look, in Saudi Arabia, they're building a smart city called Neom, and Sophia the robot, who's puppeted by a man, has more rights than a Saudi woman. Yeah, of course. They have a king. They're going to do what the king and his advisors decide, and you're not invited to be alive. And they don't really care about Allah and all that stuff. They just want what they want. So yeah, a robot that's really a puppet that's controlled by a man has more rights than the Saudi Arabian woman. Yes, it means zero progress. For the Saudis, except, that they want us to think they're cool because they had American comedians come over telling jokes that the Saudis don't even get, probably. What are they going to do? Talk about TV that the Saudis are allowed to watch? What are they allowed to watch over there? Performing for the elites? What is the stand-up set from Saudi Arabia? Are we ever going to get to see the Riyadh Comedy Festival? Are they ever going to show that? The special going to come out and they can... whatever. And AI is faking everything like they said it would. What does it have to do with Ring Cedars of Russia? It predicted all this stuff. There's probably a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm forgetting because I have 9 volumes of these books. It's like a continuing saga. Also, it's said that there's like a council. They don't have a council of 8 in this movie. In this book series. They don't have a council of 8 in this book series. They have a council of 5. So in this book series, there's 5 men who control the world. And Anastasia is one of the granddaughters of one of these five old men that control the whole world mentally. And they talk about how the world is controlled. It's a guy who's sitting at home pretending like he's watching TV to his wife, but really what he's doing is he's possessed of demons and they're manipulating things all over the world. And I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty obvious thing that it only takes a couple of people with all the money to kind of push things around. So whatever you believe about that, this book kind of touches on that kind of. It doesn't take a lot of people. It doesn't take a big cabal to rule the whole world. You just have to be working with demons and shit. But these books are pagan and New Age, and they're no good. And people make fun of it. Yeah, it's the story of a midlife crisis where this guy in his 50s falls in love with a 35-year-old woman who has baby fever, and that's Anastasia. And I got pretty caught up in these books myself, but I knew that the thing as well, the author to this day, I don't know if he's still alive, but when I, the last time I checked on Vladimir Megre, he said the focus of my book should be on the kin domains. Just start growing food and creating self-sufficient family homestead communities and stuff. And so that you have surplus so you can provide to surrounding communities and stuff. I really got involved in trying to get places where I lived over the years, like, hey, maybe you should start learn about permaculture. And I've gone through so much hell just trying to get people to grow food. I've even had my own means, my own desires to grow food and set up permaculture and establish it, literally torn out by the roots by construction equipment, been thwarted, been stopped, been hated, been mocked, been made fun of, saying, hey, maybe you should learn permaculture and grow food. And people, it's cost me friendships. I guess, you find out that sometimes your friends aren't really friends. But and also it's really a bitter. It's been, all this stuff has been bitter for me because I would talk about permaculture and then people would make fun of me, and now they do that, but they won't. I have a video coming up, I think it's in January, called "Why Do They Always Kill the Messenger?" I have been the messenger since like 2007 about a bunch of stuff, and not in an annoying way, just like in a, well, what are you doing? And then I would tell them what I'm doing, like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, well, because all this shit's coming. Well, here we are, all the power outages. What's after that? Catch as catch can. They move a whole bunch of people from other countries and say, here you go, you're in a new country, here's everything. And then they take it away from those people and like, well, we're going to fight about it now. Like, when you bring people in from another country and they raise their country's flag and spit on the country that they were brought to, how's that going to work? How's that going to work when, they've already eaten all the cats and waterfowl and stuff like that? And, exporting Indian everywhere, who has a distortion of Christianity as their teaching, and then they put a bunch of demons on top of it, and they worship and venerate demons. And India is the most densely populated country in the world, so they're moving people from India all over the rest of the world. Why? Just to make it harder for everyone wherever they move people from India to. I'm not saying anything, although the official religion of Haiti is voodoo, which is summoning demons, literally summoning demons. So, exporting people all over the world, drop shipping people, is just to say, hey, there's not enough, and make it fit into their climate. It's not climate change, it's climate control. They're changing the way that we live and putting people on top of each other, saying, hey, there's too many people here and there's not enough stuff, so now you got to eat the bugs, and nobody can have anything, and it's evil. And communism, Marxism, socialism is Satanism, ultimately, and they want us to kill each other. And like every war, isn't every war about killing Christians, basically, as many as possible? Isn't every war a blood sacrifice? It's a ritual. Wars are Hunger Games. Offer up your young, strong men, and then and if anybody comes home from the war, they're going to be damaged goods, they're going to be messed up. The devil hates families. It's an Aleister Crowley poem. I always bring it up. Enemy number one, the family. Crowley was kissing the devil's ass, and he wrote a poem. He wrote Ode to the Devil, basically, talking about how he hated families, because the devil hates families, because that's how you keep a country strong, by keeping a family together. If you have a country full of families, you can't beat them. But if you divide and conquer the family and destroy the family unit, which has been done in America, and go look at all the stuff they did where they destroyed families with drugs. No matter what color the families are, just about destroying the country and destroying the family unit. And look at all the movies we get, propaganda, where, like Disney movies, where it's like your parents are dead, or kill your parents, and then you can have a bunch of friends and you guys will be besties, and then you guys won't have anything, but at least you'll have each other. And that's evil, and it's deceptive, and Trump is evil, and he's possessed by a demon, and Elon Musk was never really the richest guy in the world. He's just a goof. He's evil. He's a puppet. He's a tool to be used by forces of darkness, by the elite. He's not the richest guy. The richest people in the world don't show up on the Forbes 500 list. We're told that there's a council of 300 and a class of 6,000 social engineers underneath them, but what's above that? All the AI models are made in that state that was founded in 1948 in the desert. Go watch my videos on the Dark Crystal. Go watch my most recent Dark Crystal review. It's not all accurate according to what the movie's about, but I just used the movie as an overlay to talk about what it is that I want to talk about. about that state that was founded in the desert in 1948, where they have all their weapons pointed at the whole rest of the world. And that's where all the AI models are made. It's where the hub, you know, the hub. It's where the hub headquarters is located. And stick around. There probably will be an outtake for this video, and if there isn't, then it's only because I've deemed it unnecessary, because this one went on long enough. So yeah, I mean, these books, I used to try and encourage other people to read them, because I just wasn't sharp enough to say, no, just study on permaculture. Look, they're going to shut the lights out. Here's books on, you know, like, you know, how do you get people to read books on globalization? Maybe now you can. You couldn't do that years ago. And if you don't want to read books on globalization because you don't have the time, you don't have to. I mentioned Zbigniew Brzezinski's Between Two Ages, the Coming Technocratic Era. Just go get, you know, like, the only thing I would suggest from Jay's analysis, or Jay Dyer, whatever he calls his page now, I don't care. But he did read the globalist books to you, and that information is accurate. I'm sure that there's good in his heart, bless him and his wife, but, you know, like, everybody's a mixed bag. The guy's sharper than me. What am I, some kind of genius or something? No, that would be evil, because a genius is like, it means genie. Whatever. So I'm just a guy trying to make videos that if you see them, maybe it will help you. Look at the stuff that I talk about. Sometimes I try to lighten your load and I talk about something silly, like I do a review of a movie, but ultimately I always bring it back to God and tell you to pray to God. That's what you should be doing. You should be praying to God, not Anastasia. It is said in these books, though, that you're not supposed to worship and venerate Anastasia, that you're not supposed to, like, pray to her or consider her a goddess or anything like that. She said give it up to Jesus, but, you know, in Orthodoxy, and those guys are, I don't like Orthodoxy, sorry. God knows our hearts, so I want to leave you with that. God knows our hearts. It's in your heart. Who are you? Are you doing the right things by Him? I myself am not, you know, I'm just trying to take care of people I care about, doing a terrible job. But, you know, what kind of guy are you? Clothing the, you know, the poor and feeding them, you know, all these things. We're supposed to be helping each other out. And it used to be what church was for, getting together, knowing that we all agree we know who God is. And churches get a lot done. Even the Orthodox churches I went to, one of them in particular did a lot to help people outside the Ukraine. You know, one church is denying almsgiving on the grounds of the church, and they're spending their money. These are people with money, a lot of them, and they're spending their money to send drop shipments of generators to the Ukraine, but they're denying almsgiving in the flesh, in person, on the grounds of the church. And then another, again, Ukrainian Eastern Orthodox church I went to, they always were rounding up money locally for moms that had need for things, you know, like single mom stuff, inner city drama stuff, for baby mama drama, for people. They're always getting money from the congregation, which was not rich people, in this other church, and just trying to, you know, feed and clothe people that were in need, you know, and like always making sure that they were, like, always people bringing stuff to the food bank and all this fantastic stuff that we're supposed, all these really good things we're supposed to do. Those are real Christians. I don't even go to church there anymore. But God knows our hearts. So keep praying to God, and don't give up praying just because He doesn't call you back like you think He should. Just keep praying anyway, because there's nowhere else to go. You have nowhere else to go. You've prayed to God, you've asked Jesus for help. I say, please take this to God the Father for me. Call Him both. God, Father, God. Lord Jesus, please help me. Send your Spirit to rest upon me, as it is written in Isaiah 11:2. I pray, Lord, that this would be for me. I pray that the Spirit of the Lord, your Spirit, Lord, rest upon me. I pray for the Spirit of wisdom. I pray for the Spirit of understanding. I pray for the spirit of knowledge. I pray for your might and your counsel. I pray that I would delight in the fear of you, as it is written in Isaiah 11:2. Lord, I pray that this be my lot. Reference the Bible when you pray. I think he likes it. Like I know what God likes. God knows your heart. And if you don't feel anything and you don't know what's in your heart, you can pray about that too. Pray that God would mold you and shape you into what it is that could be useful to him. And keep in mind that you're not a robot of God. He wants you to take actions and do things and, hope that it's in accordance with his will, and he will help you. And if you're going the wrong way, maybe sometimes he'll even push you where you should be. But don't leave him out of the equation. I would say, what's advice for life at the end of this episode on a Russian social engineering program? What would Jesus do? He is our example. It's the only acceptable tattoo, and I don't accept tattoos. We're not supposed to get them, but the idea of what would Jesus do should be something that we're recalling to our minds daily throughout the day, each and every day. Maybe this has something to do with what they call praying without ceasing, where our thoughts are always on God. Well, how would God handle this situation? What would Jesus do? And if it's a thing that he wouldn't do, don't do it. So anyway, don't believe in Anastasia. Don't believe she's not the resurrection. Don't believe in Russian social engineering programs, but believe that they are preparing for the lights to be turned out. And there's so many things that are plans for parts of globalization that they put in this book to make it look like a New Age prophecy, because they knew how to get through to their people, like, start growing food. So this tiny home shit, they have a TV show for tiny homes. I know somebody who watches this. I'm like, why are you watching this? I said, it just looks like a bunch of rich people who just want like we're gonna have our little project home, and they spend thousands of dollars to build like a tiny home, and are already rich, and they have like a place in the Hamptons or some shit, and they want a tiny home now too. I'm not opposed to the tiny homes. It'd be better to have that than nothing, but the whole point is that making a shipping container home can be moved around. You never see Snowpiercer, that Chinese propaganda thing. Yeah. Do you know that in America, at least, when you don't own the land, when you buy a house, you only own the stuff on top of the land, which I guess would be your assets or whatever. Maybe not. You only own the stuff on top of the land. You never own the land. That's why it's such a big deal to get a land deed, because then you actually own the land. Yeah, they'll probably just use weather tech to kill you, but then you go to heaven. Eternity's so much longer than the short time we're down here. Do not become discouraged. Do not fear. Do not become dispirited. And when you do, pray to God and ask him to lift you up. God knows your heart, so even if you don't know your heart, he does. So put your thoughts on God and pray to God, because nobody's getting raptured. And nobody's getting raptured the way you think about rapture. I have a very short video on the rapture if you want to go watch that. The people, when it talks about raptured, one person will be taken, one person will be left. You know where those people are being taken to? They're going to be taken, they're going to be dead, and they're going to be eaten by the birds. They're for the birds. It's an old expression that people don't use anymore. Oh, that guy, forget about him. He's for the birds. That means that's somebody who's getting taken and is going to be eaten by the birds. That's not what you want. You don't want to there's no being raptured, lifted up into heaven is not, as far as I'm aware, is not in the Bible. All right? We're down here. We're going to get ready to eat shit, kid. Sorry. Pray to God. You need to. And just don't stop. Just keep bugging them. Maybe it's not the best way to put it. Keep praying to God, and the Lord works in mysterious ways. Clean up your act. Stop vaping. I don't know what you do. No booze. No porn. Pray to God. Ask for help. If you're at the intersection and you see that there's a homeless guy over there, and you're like, I should give that guy $5. Maybe you should. He's probably going to go spend it on drugs, but that's not for you to decide. Maybe it has more to do with that, like that you did the right thing by God, and that maybe it'd be an accumulative effect on the homeless person. There's so many homeless people now. Maybe it'll be like, wow, maybe people are good, like the idea that why they keep giving stuff to me, I just spend it on drugs. Do you think that people that are junkies don't have those thoughts? They do. I don't know. Pray to God. Pray to God. Amen to that. I did a video on the Ringing Cedars of Russia series of books and the huge impact it had on Russia, and how the books have been translated into different languages all over the world. But there's one thing I forgot to talk about, and it was the Dolmens. There's a big emphasis in this series about restoring Russia's dolmens. And what the book series says that the dolmens are is that the shaman of a village would willfully go inside of this stone tomb and die inside there before their time, so that they could transmit information from the spirit realm into our living world. And that's not good, because that would be necromancy. Going to a dolmen to talk to a dead shaman to get downloads of information, because there's dolmen tours all over Russia. Nobody asked anybody to do this, but the Russians themselves started cleaning up sites where there were dolmens and turning them into tourist attractions, so that not only Russians but people from other countries that were into New Age stuff would go to the dolmens and lay down on top of them, or put their foreheads against them and do New Age rituals and leave offerings and stuff. And people were purporting that they would get downloads by laying on the dolmens. And that's necromancy. That's biblically necromancy. God says no magic, no witchcraft, no sorcery, no necromancy. Necromancy is talking to the dead. And what you're doing is you're talking to demons. You're not talking to dead people. There's no ghost of your grandpa or anything. They're doing this in America too. Misguided Christians are doing stuff that's expressly forbidden in the Bible, and they're doing this thing called grave soaking. Now, granted, the Russians were doing this dolmen stuff before the grave soaking thing had come up, but like going in America, they call grave soaking, and they go and they lay down on their grandpa's grave, and then I'm getting download of information from my dead grandpa. No, your dead grandpa is not haunting the cemetery, and I don't even know what kind of guy he was. Your dead grandpa, or whoever it is in God's hands. If you're going to a cemetery and laying down on gravestones and you get a download, that's the influence of demons. If you're going to a dolmen site anywhere in the world and trying to get a download of information because you have questions about life's mysteries, or because you don't know what to do with your life, should I join the army? What should I do? I'll go to the dolmen and lay down a dolmen. It's not going to help you. And it's forbidden by God to do these things, because we will be harmed if anything happens at all. Luckily, a lot of people are ignorant, so probably a lot of people go to dolmen sites and visit them, and they're like, it's just a bunch of rocks, and it's stupid, and they leave and nothing happens. But some people are really into this. There's a lot of lonely New Age women and stuff like that that are interested in these things, and they'll go to tours of the dolmens. And there was an acquaintance of mine that did this. She went to the Russian dolmens, and she said she laid down and she got downloads of information because she went on a dolmen tour. I also was acquainted with the guy, Russian guy, and he's a really nice guy, and he's in New Age and everything. And he probably still does them. He did these dolmen tours, and he would take people around all these sacred sites. I'm gonna be a lot of air quotes in this one, probably. And he would take people to these sacred sites of Russia, and then they would go to the dolmens. There's no spirits of dead shaman in there. They're unclean spirits. If anything's there. So if anybody goes to a dolmen site and something happens, it's demons. Just coldly. You're not getting, it's not good. Don't do it. I know you probably never heard of this stuff, but there are dolmens all over the world and are becoming popular again. And I think it was Bethel Ministries in America that was doing a grave soaking thing. But Bethel Ministry is doing a lot of stuff that's forbidden by God in that same part of the Old Testament where it says no witchcraft, no magic, no necromancy, no sorcery, and whatever else, no conjuring of spirits and all these things. And the Bethel Ministries is doing Bethel cards, which is tarot card readings, which is magic, witchcraft, sorcery. You're just trying to divine things. You're not supposed to do any of that stuff. You're not supposed to be. If you want help, you're supposed to pray to God. And now we know that we use Jesus' name. You want to talk to the Father, you got to go through Jesus. That's what he says, right? So we pray to God. But what we don't do is try and communicate with the dead. How good did that work out for King Saul? All right? That was like one of the last straws with that guy, wasn't it? If not the last one. No talking to the dead. You're just going to be lied to. You're going to be deceived. Resting your head on your grandma's tombstone isn't going to help you. Your Grammy's not in there. Maybe her leftovers and her dead body is in there, the bones and stuff. But she's with God now. She's in God's hand. You love your Grammy. She probably didn't go to hell. And I don't even know you. But one thing I know for sure is that your dead loved ones are in the cemetery. And what do we have from the Stephen King story, The Pet Cemetery? You know about this? It was a book. They made movies. They buried dead loved ones in the pet cemetery, and then demons possessed the dead people or the dead pets, and they came back and they were like zombies, basically. So I know that's just, American pop fiction or whatever you want to call it, but yeah, you're not supposed to do that stuff. You're not supposed to play with dead things. There's no talking to dolmens to get information about what should I do with my life. But that's what the Ringing Cedars of Russia book said to do. They're encouraging forbidden arts in the Bible. They're encouraging people to go to old stones. Probably some of the things I've heard about what dolmens are is they were sacrifice altars where people's blood was spilt, and there's probably like stains on top of some of them or something like that. So what was blood ritual sacrifice for? Or burying somebody alive inside of a tomb that's like an offering to demons to get information, right? The Incas, the Mayans, the Aztecs, and go all over the world where they did ritual blood sacrifice to get things that they wanted. Offerings to Baal, whatever. Satanic sacrifices and stuff. That's more in line with probably what's going on with the dolmens. And that's evil. Because, if you want help, you pray to God for help. And, be persistent like the tenacious widow in Luke 18, where she keeps bringing her case before the judge. And you know who that is. It's God. So I just wanted to bring that up because it was another horrible thing. I also can add this into there. In Russia, the Christians in Russia said that the Ringing Cedars of Russia was a cult and that they were blasphemous works, and there's a lot of evil stuff in them, but they wanted to give it, they wanted to give this New Age stuff like a new coat of paint. So they do mention Orthodox Christianity in the Ringing Cedars of Russia's books, and that Jesus is important. I forget what they said about him, and he's super important. But the books are called the Anastasia series. And Anastasia, that name means the resurrection. So it's just like, hey, you like Jesus? Well, we're going to replace him with Anastasia. So now there's a lot of, Anastasia worship in Russia. Even though in the books it does says this fake fictional character that's made up, named Anastasia, says, "Please don't." We're not talking about the princess. This is like she's like a new age lady that lives in the woods, and she doesn't wear clothes and everything. She's beautiful. Anyway, this is the fictional character of Ringing Cedars of Russia. And people believe that she's real and that they have visions of her and all these things. And she ain't the resurrection, all right? There's only one, all right? It's the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. There's no Anastasia in there, and that's nothing. But it's part of a Russian social engineering program. And they're telling people, like, it's a very important part of the books, is that you would go to the Dolmens. So people were cleaning them up without being asked all over Russia, and bringing them alive again. We've forgotten about the demons and the evil, unclean spirits. We must remember these things, so it gives them power. When the Russians go to the Dolmen sites and venerate these places, they're drawing attention and energy to whatever they really were, but also to unclean spirits to take stuff from us, basically. It's an exchange. They want something from us, and then they get whatever it is that they want. And it's always to our harm and to our detriment. And I would dare say it's wholly destructive. That's how evil works. Maybe something evil will give you a piece of the truth to get you on the hook. But then once you're on the hook, you're finished, and they just want to destroy you. So God expressly forbid us. No witchcraft, no necromancy, no sorcery, no conjuring, no whatever else. Forgive my ignorance. I should have looked that up before I came to you, but I was just about to go to bed, and I was like, I didn't talk about the Dolmens, so I'm doing it now. No Dolmens. They're evil. And the Ringing Cedars of Russia books, I don't think I'm going to get anybody giving me a hard time about it, because most people probably haven't heard about it, but there's some people who are really hardcore into the Ringing Cedars of Russia stuff, and I even met a charlatan or two. There was some guy in, he used to say he was the Great White Warrior in the Mayan calendar. It's some asshole guy. I mean, really, he's an asshole. I'm just going to say it like it is, But he was in Oregon, and he's trying to start an Anastasia Eco Village. And they had a whole bunch of land, but he legally couldn't do anything. They ripped a whole bunch of people off and stole a whole bunch of people's money. It's pretty awful. And he was like, we're going to have Anastasia Eco Village, and he was the Great White Warrior from the Mayan calendar. And he's probably in jail now. I don't know. So I'll just leave it at no Dolmens, okay? They have them all over the world. I went to a place. Did I say this already? No. I went to, there was Dolmens in Belgium, and I went to see them, and I even crawled inside of one, because they're like big. Like some of them are big, and like you can just get inside of them, and somebody took my picture. My buddy took my picture, and I'm inside the Dolmen, and nothing happened. It's lame. But if you're looking for something and you find it, what you found is trouble. There's also a devil's bed there, and the devil's bed, I think they have those all over the world too. And basically what it is a trap, and they're like, why don't you lay down in the devil's bed? And people lay down on them, and they probably get possessed by demons or hemorrhoids if it's really cold outside or whatever. And would you want to lay down on a thing called the devil's bed? I saw a whole bunch of tourists doing it, and then my buddy said, go ahead, sit down on there and take a picture. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I think I took a picture of him on the devil's bed, and he's probably fine. I haven't talked to him in a while. I don't really want to. But it's not because he sat on the devil's bed. It's because, whatever. He's a hemorrhoid, and I'm sure he don't like me either. So anyway, yeah, and it's boring. Oh, I went to the Dolmens. Here's the picture. Nobody gives a shit. It's for old people on Facebook. Yeah, and no grave soaking. It just sounds like isn't that a stupid sounding thing? So that's what the Americans are doing. They're not even going to Dolmens, even though there are Dolmens in America. They're going to the cemetery, you know, your dead loved ones aren't in, their dead bodies are in the cemetery, their bones are in the cemetery. That's nothing. Don't worry about it. What's in the cemetery? Probably unclean spirits. It's probably not a good idea to hang out there. And you're not supposed to talk to the dead, like it's forbidden. No Ouija boards, no tarot cards, no I Ching, no runes, no rolling the bones, all these things. Or rolling the bones, like not smoking weed. It's like a thing that they would throw out chicken bones, stuff like that, voodoo shit. And they're like, oh, that's, I'm gonna read your, no reading tea leaves, none of that stuff. You're not supposed to be looking for signs. Alright? God says there will be no signs and wonders for this wicked generation, or something like that, right? So trying to stir up, I need answers, I'm gonna go do a drug trip at a dolmen, all this, it's all stupid ideas. I've seen people do stupid stuff with the dolmens. There's one guy took one of those Australian, took a didgeridoo. He took a didgeridoo to the dolmens and went bow da bow da bow da bow bow. Idiot. Doesn't it sound like demons making those noises? Bro. I saw a guy take a Ricola horn to a dolmen. What? You think that the ghosts like that shit? They're probably pissing them off. I don't know, maybe that's a good thing. You really want to anger demons? Just get them out of there. Oh, I hate this music. Get it. The guy keeps playing a didgeridoo in dolmen. We're out of here. Let's go follow him back to his hotel and give him nightmares. That's probably what happens if you go to the dolmens. So yeah, it's stupid. Avoid them. Stay away from them. No, you know, I was thinking about like these ghost hunting shows, probably in different countries where there's dolmens. Like they're all over the world. So probably people, you know, in westernized countries are going there with their ghost hunting equipment and we gotta get orb photos at the dolmens. Yeah, you probably are. The eye of a digital camera sees more than our eye, picks up more stuff. So yeah, you're probably seeing like, oh look, it's orbs. That's probably demons or unclean spirits. You know, but it's definitely not your dead loved ones, for sure. And you shouldn't be doing that shit anyway. Ghostbusters is a movie. There's only one Ghostbusters movie. That's all you need. You like the one with the girls? You like want to look at pretty girls? But it's not. There isn't any in that movie. Sorry. But I don't know. I have nothing else to say about dolmens. Like, how long does this video have to be? But it was a big part of the Ringing Cedars, so this is like an add-on to that Ringing Cedars of Russia video. Because how could I talk about it and not talk about the dolmens? It was one of the things that those books got done. People went all over Russia and cleaned them up, and now they're tourist traps. I hope people are tired of it and over it. I hope that the dolmens have gone back into disrepair and nobody's managing them or keeping them clean and everything. There's other ways to make money than doing dolmen tours, helping people get possessed and grieving God, and you know, making people's guardian angels do double duty. Oh, it's gonna be a rough week this week. The guy's going on a dolmen tour. What's that gonna be like? Hey, send more angels. This guy's going on the dolmen tour. I don't know. I think maybe God grants us a lot of grace through our ignorance. So you're going and doing stuff you're not supposed to do, and maybe you're being protected. I don't know. We'll see. So no dolmens and no Ringing Cedars of Russia. It's bunk 'em. Oh.
Duh! Here are the outtakes. Duh!
I found them. I've been looking for these. This is my Ringing Cedars of Russia books. I feel like they're very pertinent to the world that we live in today. And I'm going to open up this box. And I don't know where this episode's going. The power outages. All over the world, they're experiencing these power outages, and that's one of the things that is predicted in these Ringing Cedars of Russia books, that the technocratic world will fail. They talk about the AI bubble bursting, and just like depending on AI for stuff, and then it doesn't work, and they shut everything down. And this is part of a, I guess I'll call it a Hegelian dialectic, where they create a problem for us, and they're like, well, here's how we fix it, and then you're eating bugs, and you're living in a life pod, which is your coom pod, which is your death pod, and there's no windows in the smart cities because people are going to want to jump out of them when they realize they've given up too much of their soul or something like that. So anyway, Ringing Cedars of Russia. I talked about this many times before, and I said I can't find those books. And I've done videos that no longer exist on this channel. They're not on my Rumble channel, where I talked about the Ringing Cedars of Russia books, knew something about the Anastasia books, Anastasia, however you want to pronounce it. Have you heard of these before? Maybe you have. Alex Jones has talked about the Ringing Cedars of Russia's books. And I'd say one of the core themes about them is, well, they have a character called Anastasia, or Anastasia. And I don't know why I said that again, I just told you that. It means resurrection. Do you know that Anastasia, what that name, the meaning of that name means resurrection? So is this like some kind of female replacement for Jesus? It's a fantasy novel where a guy has a midlife crisis, and he goes into the taiga, and there he finds a beautiful forest woman, and she understands about the secrets of nature and all this stuff. It's very New Age, but it also talks about, I would say, political strategies that they have for our planet. Like this book's titled The New Civilization. What they're doing in Russia, like there's no pre-planning for this, so I'm just like kind of cutting into it. Russia's preparing eco-villages, and they have a lot of them. They have like over 250, I don't know, maybe more than that by now, probably is. They have like 250 eco-villages. The Dolmens over there were changing laws. They're giving 99-year land leases with right to inheritance. Didn't Trump just do a thing? Isn't that, like, as of me making this video, Trump did a thing like that where it's 50-year, you can lease a house over 50 years. Isn't that just fitting into BlackRock's in the future you'll own nothing? Nobody's liking this idea of the 50-year, lease a house over 50 years instead of a 15-year. You know, buy your home 15 years, now it's like 50 years. So everything's too expensive. Like, they're just trying to sacrifice up America. Can I just say it? That's in these books. So the Russians have been preparing, and it's also, these books, the first volume of this book came out in 1994. There's like 10 of them, I think, altogether. There may be more by now. So there's 10 books in this series, and it's like a New Age prophecy. It's like science fiction, fantasy, New Age prophecy, but it has all kinds of things of steps towards globalization. It's like a social engineering program for the Russians. You know how China has a social credit system and they're communist, but they want Russians, I mean, they want the Chinese to be successful. Like, they want China to win. So it sucks to live there, and there's all the repression of, you know, Chinese communist social credit system, but they still want China to be on top. Well, Russia wants Russia to be on top. America is to be sacrificed, I guess. Like, they just want to destroy America. Like, America, it seems like our elite occultists want America, America, whatever you want to call it. They want to sacrifice up this country and all the people in it. They want to put higher tax. The guy came right out and said, he said, we want to put higher taxes on white people, rich white people houses, because there's this plan to eliminate Caucasoids off the planet, so that the only people that will be them, it would be like, hey, you're not one of us. You can't come up here. You look at the color of your skin. Like, you're not coming up here because you're whatever. So there's this plan to eliminate white people. You know about this. Okay, so what's in Russia? So Russia wants Russia to win. So when the lights go out, which is in these books, the lights are going to go out for the whole world. And when that happens, Russia's going to thrive. This is their social engineering program for thriving when they shut the lights out. The lights are going out all over the world. They're going to shut them out, come up with their plan. You will eat the bugs. These books have people growing vegetables and stuff, but they're not encouraging eating meat, even though the Russians with the eco-villages are still eating meat. This was a big part of my life in the early 2000s. I said the first volume of this book came out in 1994. And then I got smarter, discovered Jesus. These books do kind of point you towards Jesus, and they talk about how he's important. But it's still, talk about that there'll be a return. It predicts a lot of things. I know I'm just like bouncing all over the place, but I guess that's how I'm going to do this one. This book predicts a return to Orthodox Christianity. I myself, if I'm not excommunicated, I was Eastern Orthodox Christian, part of the Ukrainian Church in America. Now I kind of renounce. I kind of renounce. I don't know. I don't know what I think of it. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I don't know if you want to call that a Christian. That's who God is. There's nowhere else to go. I know. Maybe I don't know God as I would like to. How could anyone really know God? There are levels to this, and I feel like I don't know anything, but I know that that's God. Jesus is God. He's our King and our God, and He is the only begotten Son of the Maker of all things. And I want help from His Holy Spirit. But I don't know what I think about Eastern Orthodox Christianity, and I don't care what Jay Dyer says. I don't think he knows. If he's still kissing pictures of the Virgin Mary, I don't know about that. Mary's not an ever virgin. I reject Catholicism, all that stuff. I was never one of them anyway. The Pope, doesn't the definition of the name Pope mean evil or something? So anyway, I finally found my Ringing Cedars books. I have met Leonid Shrashkin. Does that matter? He's the guy that put these into English. He was an economics student, and he fights with the author of these books, which is Vladimir Megre, over the rights to have them printed. I've met the author of these books. He doesn't speak English. Everything was done through translators. I spent a week with the guy. It's some kind of Russian social engineering program or something, so that the Russians will thrive as we head towards globalization. So I talked about the AI bubble popping. Hey, set up AI to do a bunch of stuff, then blame AI for it and turn the lights out, and we'll live through a fearful hell. I think that's how it's referred to in this particular English translation of these Ringing Cedars books. I think the author may have gotten the rights back, so he has like another version of these same books printed, but he can't use the translation that was done by John Woodsworth, who did the English translations of these versions of it. So I think that there's another version of these books put out by McGray himself, but it was just about greed and money stuff. It's a very weird story. I don't even know if I should get into any of that behind the scenes with the publishers. Like in other languages, like I met the Greek translator of these books, and he didn't ask permission. He just started he translated the books into Greek and started putting them out, and then I don't know whatever happened to him. His name was George. It probably still is. I don't know. I met various language translators of this book. I met the Slovenian. I helped co-found an international nonprofit organization with the Slovenian translators of these books. The guy never wears shoes. I've worked with cults that channeled. They tried to get me into their cults, Anastasia cults, where they were channeling demons to get informations on how to build rapeseed presses. Rapeseed. Did I just say that word? Okay, well. Anyway, that's canola oil. I just said it. Should I just start this episode again? I'm just gonna start it again. shit. I'm gonna start again. This will be an outtakes, like 10-minute outtake. I'm trying to make these videos better. I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna go back there and pretend I'm bringing the books out. And okay.